Like I said, I still have crazies around me. I stepped outside. Somebody said something again. Well, Chris said, I haven't met Chris. Like I said, there's a Steve, Eric, Kurt, Chris, and Mark involved. Like I said, no agent, no officer knocked on my door, asked me questions about any of this. None of those men, no mama's attorney friend. And it's not funny that it came out that Dave fentanyl me before and told me to say a bunch of crazy crap. And witnesses thereof in the second apartment next building over. And they did tell a man with a badge that, yes, they did drug her and tell her to say it before. People tell me what they told me to say under drugs. I'm like, oh my God. They said, well, they told you to say the mean game or pretend. It's a mean game of pretend. I didn't know till Flora laughed at it. Of course it never happened. Of course it wasn't true. We made it up. It was a game of pretend. There's a video of it attached to the case. 10/23/19. Flora laughs at my other granddaughter. How they were supposed to pretend it. It's an extreme call. And I have people witnessing that the knowledge of the church people have people break in before drug me and tell me to say weirdo stuff, and I have them taped witnessing it. I didn't know because they drugged me. I'm lucky to be alive. I have lived through the worst hell. And where he said him and Jack had a plan since March and they had to do it this way, all of this was premeditated. It's scary. There's been people in my house I didn't know drugging me. Like I said, the FBI don't drug people. I talk to police and prosecutors. They know. They don't use sodium pentyl. Why? You lie under it. It's movie shit. Falsely confessed to all those crimes. Crimes too. Luring children, writing ransom notes, falsely confessed. Falsely confessed to Pearl Harbor. Questioner gets what it wants, right or wrong. It's anesthesia. It makes you high, and it's lethal. On top of it, FDA will not allow it to be brought in the United States, and it's prohibited to be used in humans because they use it in lethal injections for animals and humans. It's that deadly. They don't drug anybody. And the neural chip, outlawed 2005 U.S. Supreme Court, 11th Circuit, 18-10134. It's illegal trade dress worldwide against all human rights. This is the United States of America. If somebody had a question, they could ask me. I'd say, what, Dave? And, with them hiring stalkers and murderers, it doesn't take a genius. Then they've drugged you and told you to say something. And you know what's something? I taped my ex defending me and calling Melissa childish to ever say anything bad about me. And that I'm good to everyone. I told you the FBI inside of Walmart. No child should ever be afraid around Karen. She's nothing but love. And that would be ridiculous. Karen's not but good in love. I laid my life down to save my family. I was almost murdered and stalked, and I walked through the fires of hell, and because Dave was dating an agent's daughter named Michelle, and then playing that girl Lauren, however she is, and then that heavyset blonde girl. And I told you there was even a set of twins that showed up and lied to the agents that they were adult women, that Dave had an affair before, and they had to grow up with nothing. And instead of saying, well, go after Dave now for it, well, their mom would attach to his wages. They were lying. They looked at me and said, you can learn to do without nothing. Like it was my fault he cheated instead of going after him. Everything was turned around on me because Dave was dating an agent's daughter. They were illegally taping me in my home before. They didn't have a court order. The wiping off toxic water is stupid. They looked into it. They even told a nurse at Mercy Medical They only got you on adjusting yourself. The guy said that's sick. She said, no, it's funny. And then in Rite Aid in town, when I got my second COVID virus shot, somebody walked up with a cell phone, looked at it, and said, you didn't expose yourself. You're good. Because you can wipe off blood anywhere. You gotta think bathing suits, you pull them out of your crotch or butt. Guys adjust their front area. People pull out wedgies. You can touch any part of your body with clothes on. I think you have to hold yourself like 5 minutes to explain yourself. Not a fast, oh my God, water's running. It's stupid. They said these people were extremely reaching, and then they just wiped it out. But it's not funny that those agents bragged at the register at Woodford, Walmart, after the gunshot night. They stayed out of the gunshot night. And they did it for Dave's girlfriend. She's so much prettier, and the guy running it didn't blame them. And they were African American dreadlocks. The Woodfords, there's an older white man with gray hair and a mustache that mocks me too. We had 3 back up that night. And Dave's mistaken a big one. They met outside my house with the men in the house picked it up where it was an FBI investigation and police and hire. They caught him for a moment, and where these people had sold the login, they actually have people have yelled at me for the headshot, the thing I left out. And they people know Elton, they were calling him a bastard today. They said it at Inside FedEx today. 2 agents were standing off to the side. One agent was getting even with her because she didn't call 911, and I had on the floor so I couldn't get killed. And I know my house was bugged and I had agents watching. I didn't have to call 911. I didn't know I had the dirty team watching me that night. A guy came up to me. People got paid off up here, became 2 teams. One for you, one for Dave. Remember the truth, or try to implant lies, or try to steal everything you have in life. The agents are so corrupt, they would try to steal a settlement. They told me that 2.5 years ago. They had this plan. FBI don't drug people because of the 5th, and because of the U.S. Supreme Court ruling. They definitely don't use that crazy drug. And it's not admissible. Let alone they get the crazy crap that it came out that Dave drugged me before in the witness of the other building, where they laughed at me because they have the login, that I finally figured it was Dave that did it. But when a guy with a badge showed up, they told him the truth, the second apartment next building over. And the old lady at 1295 Fairlawn, she had screamed at him when they showed up and told her they drugged me and told me to say weirdo stuff. And screamed it for the neighborhood to hear. And she's talked to someone too. And then Wendy's in town, May 25th, the crew was speaking of it, how not funny. The church people were breaking in, drugging her, and telling her to say she's some kind of weirdo before. They had it planned out where they had paid people to know where I was. Stalkers, murderers, and then drugs and fake confessions, and then lying, giggling children. And like Flora said, my granddaughter, October 23rd, 2019, there's actually a video of it. Of course it never happened. Of course it wasn't true. We made it up. It was a game of pretend. She's 7. She's so sassy. She would have said, "Uh-huh, Daddy," that's what they said. But, like the agent said, Melissa's so stupid, she made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid, she didn't check where you were. Her first lie is you bent over properly and they said they seen my butt when they only made fun of the back of my knees like 6 years ago. I have very bad varicose veins. And I didn't even own that nightgown. And I have video of chatting with Dave on top of it. That's why he admits on my phone nothing bad happened that day and he was on the phone with me. As a matter of fact, it was a really sweet day. That's why Melissa asked me to babysit in August of 17. We were Facebook friends and Messenger. Let's see. If she wasn't going to that cult, she wouldn't be part of any of this. Let me think. They said the second lie was you're being weird with yourself in the bathroom and they're looking through a cracked bathroom door and I'm outside drinking water with Jen. Third lie, they'll make up something, call you a bad word. The mean game of pretend. Giggle, giggle, giggle. Now they're acting like they just found out they were lying. I don't believe them. It's a documented lie. The Massillon police tell everybody I'm innocent. It's a documented mean game of pretend. It was wiped out 2 years ago. The police in the courthouse on 9/18/19, there's a video of it. The two sweet judges of Ravenna and the undercover police, before you had us look into it, you knew she couldn't handle it, and you knew she appreciated us doing it, and you can find she did nothing wrong. Judge Pete walks by, and Judge Timothy comes in laughing, ready to begin, and the undercover police stopped following me that day. Liberty House Share, June 19. There's a man with a suit. He's probably an agent. They let him in the back. Liberty House Share on Hillsdale Road. And the Jackson police or the North Canton police are there. The worst thing you ever did wrong, honey, is you bent over him properly. And they only made fun of the back of my knees. It's like, let me get the door for you. These people are horrifying and ridiculous. Now, I do have people saying those two men did that. And one man said he's crippled. I've been trying to get help for everyone. And I have had people tell me men's name, like a Steve or Eric, Kirk, Chris, and Mark. No agent, no officer knocked on my door and asked questions about that. And I only talked to Will once and told him I was scared, and I forgot to tell him that an agent had went to Apostolic Church of Pemberton. Paul Paymer's the minister, and the night before I called him back, they checked. The ass told on me. They said he's behind a lot of this. He freaked out. He zoomed Dave's face in front of us, 75 to 100 people. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. And I walk off. He's got black hair, dark eyes, and black glasses, late 30s, early 40s. He reminds you of Judge Timothy in Ravenna. You don't ask someone to stay quiet while you investigate when your agent just told Dave's dating an agent's daughter. And they were taping me underwear. He knew I called the FBI. And then the agents, some of them participated because it was for Michelle. And like I said, the two agents at the register break, they stayed out for her. And the one at Wood Forest made fun of me after the shooting. And then Michelle's mother showed us up Memorial Day weekend 2019 food counter, Walmart, Sassville. For it's my daughter. They did all this for. They had met in Ravenna when I had the stomach spell. For it's my daughter, or from our family that watches her down here. And for who's Karen's boyfriend, but the state of Ohio. Rumors start. I had the district attorney's office, the police, the Freemasons, the retired vets. I'm a notary, and so the Bar Association helped out, and then the FBI, the good agents, they would walk by and say, we're from this department, we're from that department, we're here to help. Kindness of strangers I've never seen. And they sold the log and the bad agents, and people taped their heinous crimes against me. And it's a shame my brother-in-law died. He was a private consultant for the FBI. Unrestricted, did war weapons, worked at the Pentagon. they said that he was actually CIA and didn't tell anybody. When he had got killed, CIA and FBI both came to his funeral, and even Vice President Dick Cheney, because he was Secretary of State back then. It was kind of them to show up for his funeral. My brother-in-law was a lovely, sweet genius, and I wish he was alive. None of this would ever happen, and it's devastating. One of the organizations he got killed working for was helping for selfish gain and selfish gain only. Like I said, the FBI even told Walmart, Karen's nothing but love and good. No child should ever worry about being around Karen. I laid my life down trying to get these people caught, because my son Josh and his family were next. And they had a list of people, and so where people were turning on me, I started taping people, admitting a little bit of the case here and there of what they knew. To the agent Welch had told me, trust no man. Boy, was he right. Good agents when I walked out, or when I moved out. No man's to ever be mean to her again. You know better than to apologize to no man, and you know better than to feel sorry for no man. The State Department was here for the state case, and because the guys got away that night, they said all of us want you to do is just heal inside after what you lived through. That's all we all want. And I told her what happened with the rape and torture. It's horrifying, these people. Someone needs to come down here. Like I said, 8/18, 4:42 p.m., even in Shine. They admit it was an agent and a stalker raping me and torturing me. And they had already told Shine, people were in there watching me because some ass had raped me. And they already told Shine I was innocent. And they told FedEx, for we all know this woman's innocent. They told Aspen Dental that too. And a gas station, children. If you get the right agent, we all know this woman's innocent. It's not your fault when an extreme occult plans out your murder and other people's, and they break in, and let alone my ex that planned my death, fentanyled me before and told me to say crazy stuff and got me high, and I didn't know he did it. I was throwing up all the time when I was with him. And I found out if he couldn't touch my drinks anymore, I stopped throwing up, even with intestinal swelling from the beating. So, and that lady over there in the second apartment, she already verified with a man with a back that they did drug me and tell me to say stuff before, and so did the other lady. And I have Jim and Brian where Jeff had told him that he had heard it in Wendy's on May 25th of the crew speaking of it, an extreme occult, and they have a list of people they're going to do this for. I'd like to be moved. There's a U.S. Supreme Court ruling 18-101 3411 circa 2005. It even outlaws the neurochip, and the agency took responsibility 3/13 of this year. 2:53 p.m. that some damn bastard had did it, and the agency had chipped me. And there's a CD of it with dye from Mercy Medical with a CAT scan. You can see they cut the wires a crack. I have swelling pulling here where there's a dent this big in the back of my head. You can see the cut. You can see the crack and then the wires. And they even give the login to the neurochip and let people play with me. And they've even yelled at them for doing it. It's that bad. They sold the login. It's not contained. There was people from Washington, California, Texas, Florida, Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky. So yeah, in Michigan. So I'm hoping somebody shows up. But even the chip was a lot. I want it removed. I should not die for bastards. And like I said, the Massillon police always tells everybody I'm innocent, and so does the courthouse. None of this is your fault when people lie. And it's an extreme occult, and they fentanyl you and then hire killers. So it's a perfect storm going around you. And then they start trying to kill your son's family. And they even had a hit on a baby's life. That's why it's like, you bastards, you'll go through me and get caught. And people stated people have died because of the gunshot night. And they said that agent hated me because I didn't call 911 that night. And those 3 agents breaking, they stayed out of it. And they knew I was in trouble. I knew my house was bugged. The men would say stuff around me all the time. Saying you need the police, you hear gunfire, you can't ask for help, or code word of, I need the police. I should call. I can't tell Dave I know they're out there, and I'm surrounded, and he's rambling, and I kept saying it, and they heard me, and they laughed in my face. They stayed out of it for that agent's daughter. And what's something? He didn't go to marry her. He used her and her dirty friends to get what he wanted and moved on. Like the guy said, he used us all. Somebody needs to fix this. And the chip does come up, government chip. 2 police stations have already said stuff. And I can even show where they sold the login to the neurochip. And I kept timestamps and receipts of places that have the login to prove they sold the login of all things. Someone needs to come down and help me and the real victim.